Hey everyone, have you ever caught yourself staring at an old map or flipping through a history book and just wishing you could step right into those ancient times, to breathe the same air, feel the ground beneath your feet, and truly understand what life was like thousands of years ago? Tonight, we're going on a journey far beyond what any textbook can show you. We're not just reading about history, we're going to live it. Prepare to shed your modern worries, because we're about to be transported, in vivid detail, directly into the heart of the ancient Maya world. It's going to be an experience you won't forget, a true leap across the centuries. Alright, find your most comfortable spot. Seriously, get really settled in. Take a slow, deep breath, let it all out, and just let your body relax. Let go of all the noise from today. We're about to take a deep dive, a complete immersion into a time and place that will feel incredibly real. Congratulations, you've just woken up. But not in your own bed, not in your own time. You've just woken up in the Maya world. It's the 8th century, and the jungle is all around you. The very first thing that hits you, even before your eyes fully open, is the air. It's thick with moisture, clinging to your skin like a warm, damp blanket. You can almost taste the humidity. Your eyes flutter open, slowly adjusting to a soft, golden light that filters down, broken into 1,000 shimmering beams by what feels like an endless ceiling of leaves high above. You are lying on something very simple, a mat woven from reeds, on the floor of a small, one-room house. The floor isn't wood or tile, it's packed earth, cool and solid against your bare feet. As you push yourself up, slowly, from the mat, your back feels a little stiff, a bit protesting from sleeping on such a firm surface. But there's also something incredibly refreshing about this utter simplicity, this lack of anything fussy or overdone. It feels grounding, real. Over in one corner, you notice a small copal incense burner, quietly smoldering. It releases a sweet, earthy aroma, a scent you immediately recognize as something natural, ancient. This smell mingles wonderfully with another, even more enticing aroma, the unmistakable, delicious scent of fresh corn tortillas cooking on a clay griddle, probably over an open fire. Your stomach rumbles loudly in response. You haven't eaten since yesterday, and that rich, warm smell makes you realize just how incredibly hungry you are. It's a primal hunger, not just a casual craving. You stretch your arms above your head, feeling your muscles slowly loosen and relax with a satisfying ease. As you let out a long breath, you take in the simple space around you. The walls are made of solid limestone, covered with smooth white stucco, giving the room a clean, bright feel. Colorful fabrics, rich reds and deep blues, dyed from natural plants and the vibrant cochineal insects, hang from wooden pegs along the walls. They add a splash of life and artistry to the humble room. In another corner, a small altar stands, adorned with a few carved jade pieces and some clay figures. Everything in this modest home seems to have its own specific place, a sense of order and purpose. From outside, you can hear the village slowly but surely awakening. Children's laughter, light and carefree, ripples through the humid air. The rhythmic pat-pat-pat of women's hands shaping corn dough into tortillas creates a soothing, steady background rhythm. Someone nearby is chopping wood. Thunk a broken bar, thunk a broken bar, thunk. The sound resonates deep through the ground, a subtle vibration that travels up into your body, making you feel even more connected to this place. You rise from your mat and take a step towards the doorway, pushing aside the fabric that serves as a door. The morning light outside is incredibly bright, momentarily blinding you after the dimness of the house. As your vision slowly clears, you see that you're in a small Maya farming village, tucked away in the dense, verdant lands of what will someday be called the Yucatan Peninsula. Simple houses, each with its distinctive thatched roof, dot the landscape, and everyone is surrounded by its own small garden plot, already showing signs of life. In the distance, beyond the expansive milpa fields, that's where corn, beans, and squash grow together in perfect harmony. You can just make out the gleaming white limestone pyramids of a ceremonial center, rising majestically above the lush green jungle canopy. It's a breathtaking sight, a testament to human ingenuity reaching for the sky. Now, let's talk about your arrival here. There's good news, and well, some news that's a bit more challenging. The good news first. You've arrived right at the very peak of Maya civilization. This is when their art, Their grand architecture, their incredibly advanced mathematics, and their precise astronomy have all reached their absolute highest points. Their calendar systems are so mind-bogglingly accurate that they put many later civilizations to shame, and they've mastered farming techniques that allow their civilization to truly thrive, even with the challenging conditions of the rainforest. This is a time of incredible achievement and progress. However, here's the more sobering news. You've also arrived during a time when the Maya regularly practice intense bloodletting rituals and, yes, human sacrifice. These acts are performed to appease their powerful gods, to ensure the sun rises, the rain falls, and the crops grow. So, despite their incredible artistic and intellectual achievements, these were not what you would call gentle people in the modern sense. Life here is often brutal, incredibly challenging, and, for many, tragically short. This duality, this striking contrast between profound intellectual brilliance and stark, sometimes violent, religious practices, is something that has fascinated and puzzled historians for centuries. It begs the question, how could the ancient Maya create a super-advanced civilization while simultaneously adhering to such intense, often violent, spiritual rituals? It's a complex puzzle, and you are now right in the middle of it. As you stand there, absorbing this new reality, a small, brown-skinned woman approaches you. Her eyes are almond-shaped and observant. Her dark hair is woven into incredibly intricate braids, adorned with colorful threads that catch the light. She wears a simple huipil, a loose white cotton tunic, beautifully decorated with embroidered patterns, and a long skirt wrapped around her waist. Around her neck hangs a stunning pendant, carved from jade, that sacred stone of the Maya, symbolizing water, fertility, and royalty. She offers you a warm smile, and you notice her teeth. They've been filed to points, a deliberate cosmetic alteration, and some are even inlaid with tiny pieces of jade, a clear sign of beauty and high status among the Maya elite. "You've slept late," she says, her voice kind, and miraculously, you somehow understand her language. It's not English, but your mind seems to translate it effortlessly, or perhaps you're simply understanding the meaning behind her words. The sun has already begun its journey across the sky. Come, you must eat before starting your work in the fields. You follow her back inside the cool, dim sanctuary of the house. She hands you a gourd filled with atol, a warm, sweet corn gruel, gently flavored with honey and chili. The liquid feels incredibly comforting, coating your tongue and warming your stomach from the inside out. As you drink, she busies herself preparing a simple, yet nourishing meal. More corn tortillas, steaming black beans, and perfectly ripe avocado. The tortillas are warm and fragrant, nothing at all like the mass-produced, bland versions you're used to from your own time. These are thick, slightly uneven, with beautiful, charred spots from the clay griddle. The taste is earthy, complex, utterly authentic. You remember something about the corn having been nixtamalized, soaked in limestone water to release its nutrients before being ground on a metate, that curved stone grinding surface. It's a process that makes the corn not just more nutritious, but also deeply flavorful. Eat, she encourages, her voice gentle but firm. Today is an important day. The king's procession passes through our village on the way to the ceremonial center. We must prepare offerings. As you eat, you pay attention to the details of the food. The beans, for instance, have been slow-cooked with epazote, a pungent herb that gives them a distinctive, almost medicinal but deeply satisfying flavor. The avocado is perfectly ripe, its flesh creamy and rich, a perfect complement to the earthy beans and tortillas. Such simple food, yet so incredibly satisfying. You find yourself breathing more deeply, your shoulders relaxing away from your ears as you truly savor each and every bite. This isn't just sustenance, it's a moment of mindful connection to the earth and the community. The woman introduces herself as Ixchel, named after the Maya goddess of medicine and childbirth, a fitting name given her nurturing presence. She explains that you are in a small farming community nestled near Tikal, one of the most powerful and influential Maya city-states of this era. It is the year 750s, and the great King Jasauchank IV has recently died. His son, Yike IV and Chank IV now rules. Under his formidable leadership, Tikal has recently defeated its long-standing rival city-state, Calakmul, and has significantly expanded its influence and reach throughout the entire region. This is a time of Tikal's dominance, a powerful moment in Maya history. You feel the familiar weight of the jade pendant hanging around your own neck again, and a fresh wave of confusion washes over you. This reconfirms that you must be someone of importance here, or at least someone with special status, given that jade is reserved for nobility and those with significant standing. Yet, your hands, as you glance at them, tell a different story. They are calloused and strong, the hands of someone who works the land, who toils under the sun, despite any perceived status suggested by the jade. This internal contradiction is unsettling. You are troubled by strange dreams again, Ixchel says, her voice soft, noticing your confusion, your furrowed brow. The gods speak to you in your sleep, but their messages are difficult to understand. Perhaps the shaman can help after the harvest, when the days are quieter. It's clear they believe your confusion stems from these divine, enigmatic communications. After finishing your meal, feeling nourished and slightly more grounded, you step outside again. The village is now fully awake, bustling with purposeful activity. Men, dressed in simple loincloths and sandals made from plant fibers, are already heading to the milpa fields, carrying their stone tools for tending the crops. Women, with large ceramic pots expertly balanced on their heads, are making their way to the nearby cenote, that natural sinkhole that provides the village with its vital supply of fresh, clear water. Children, some running about naked, others in simple tunics, play with small clay figures or help their parents with various chores, their youthful energy a constant counterpoint to the adults' steady work. Your feet, strangely, seem to know precisely where to carry you. They follow a worn dirt path that leads towards the milpa fields. The cool, damp earth feels good between your toes, a direct connection to the land. You notice how your body seems to move with an instinctual knowledge, even as your mind continues to struggle to make sense of this new, baffling reality. The weight of the humid air presses against your skin, making each movement slightly more effort than you're accustomed to. Sweat beads on your forehead and upper lip, trickling down your back. Yet, there's something undeniably pleasant about this direct, unmediated connection to your body, to the raw, living environment around you. The milpa fields spread out before you, an ingenious and sustainable system of agriculture that has sustained this civilization for centuries. Unlike modern monoculture, where only one crop grows in a field, the milpa is a polyculture, a vibrant ecosystem where multiple crops thrive together. Tall corn stalks provide natural support for climbing bean vines, which in turn perform a vital function by fixing nitrogen back into the soil, enriching it naturally. Meanwhile, squash plants spread along the ground, their broad leaves providing crucial shade that helps suppress weeds and retains precious moisture in the earth. This Three Sisters method of farming is not just efficient, it's a living testament to the Mayu's deep understanding of ecological balance, a wisdom that has sustained them for countless generations. You're handed a stone hoe by a man who seems to know you well, offering it with a nod of familiar greeting. His skin is deeply tanned from years of working under the relentless sun, and intricate tattoos cover his arms and chest, telling stories you can't yet read. Unlike you, he wears no jade, a clear visual marker of his status as a commoner. Still, there's a quiet dignity in his bearing, a visible pride in his work, a sense of self-worth that doesn't depend on ornamentation. The bins are ready for harvesting, he tells you, his voice low and steady. We must finish before the king's procession arrives. For the next few hours, you work diligently alongside the other villagers, harvesting bins, carefully gathering them, and preparing the best ones as offerings for the impending royal visit. The physical labor is demanding, pushing muscles you haven't truly used in your modern life, but it's also deeply satisfying. There's a clear rhythm to the work. Bend, pick, place, move. Bend, pick, place, move. The repetitive motion becomes almost meditative, a way to quiet your overactive mind. Your breathing naturally synchronizes with your movements, and the gentle chatter of the workers around you creates a soothing, comforting backdrop of human connection and shared effort. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, reaching its zenith, the heat intensifies even further. Sweat soaks your simple cotton clothing, clinging uncomfortably to your skin. Your back aches from hours of bending, a dull, persistent protest. Your fingers are stained with earth and the juices of the plants. But amidst this physical discomfort, there's a strange, profound contentment. It's the contentment of direct connection to the food you will soon eat, to the community you are serving, to the very earth that sustains all life here. It's a feeling of purpose, of being fully present. During a brief, much-needed rest, an older man approaches you. His face is deeply lined, a map of years of sun and toil, and his eyes are cloudy with cataracts, making his gaze seem distant. He must be in his 50s, an ancient figure by Maya standards, where the average lifespan is often barely 30 years. He sits down beside you in the precious shade of a massive ceiba tree at a sacred tree that the Maya believe forms the very axis of the cosmos, connecting the underworld, the earth, and the heavens. You look troubled, child, he says, his voice raspy with age, surprisingly gentle. Is it the dreams again? You nod, hesitant, unsure how to begin explaining that you're not who they think you are, that you've somehow been plucked from your own time and dropped into this ancient world. The words just won't form. The gods choose certain people to receive their messages, he continues, his voice soft, almost a murmur. It is both a blessing and a heavy burden. My grandmother was a day keeper, a keeper of the sacred calendar, a truly wise woman. She taught me to read the signs, to understand the intricate cycles of time. Perhaps I can help you understand what the gods are trying to tell you. He reaches into a small, intricately woven pouch tied to his waist and pulls out a handful of small, red seeds, 1/4-eyed beans, ancient tools used for divination, for glimpsing hidden truths. He casts them carefully onto the ground between you, his cloudy eyes intensely studying the complex pattern they make. I see a great change coming, he murmurs, his voice barely audible above the gentle rustle of the ceiba's leaves. The cycles of time are turning. The 13th B1/4 Ache 1/4 ton approaches. You know enough about Maya timekeeping, from vague memories of history lessons, to understand what he's referring to. The Maya calendar system is incredibly complex, tracking multiple, interlocking cycles simultaneously. A B1/4 Ache 1/4 ton is a monumental period, lasting 144,000 days, which is almost 400 of your solar years. You remember that the actual end of the 13th B1/4 Ache 1/4 ton won't happen for another 1,500 years or so, somewhere around 2012 in your own timeline. But this man, this daykeeper, clearly believes that significant, world-altering events are deeply tied to these calendar transitions, to the turning of these vast cosmic gears. What does it mean? You ask, your voice sounding strange to your own ears, small and uncertain. Change, he says simply, his gaze fixed on some unseen point in the distance. All things must change. Kingdoms rise and fall. The rains come and go. The sun travels its path across the sky, dying each night and being reborn each morning. Nothing remains the same forever. This is the law of the cosmos. He gathers his divination beans, carefully returning them to his pouch. The king's procession approaches. We must prepare. Indeed, you can now clearly hear the distant, rhythmic thrumming of drums and the high-pitched, reedy sound of flutes, growing steadily louder. The villagers, already gathered at the edge of the fields, quickly finish their final preparations. Everyone holds something as an offering, the best of their harvested crops, beautifully hand-woven textiles, small clay figures, or tiny, gleaming jade ornaments for the wealthier members of the community. You stand with them, holding a small basket filled with the beans you've just helped harvest, feeling the rough texture of the woven fibers. Your heart beats faster, a nervous flutter in your chest, as the royal procession finally comes into full view. First come the musicians, a vibrant, moving wave of sound, men playing wooden flutes, hollow turtle shell drums, and rattles made from gourds filled with seeds, creating a complex, almost intoxicating tapestry of sound. Then, a formidable group of warriors, their bodies painted for battle in bold, striking patterns, carrying clubs made of razor-sharp obsidian and long spears that glint in the tropical sun. Behind them, carried on an elaborate litter borne by 8 incredibly strong men, is King Yike 1/4 and Chank 1/4 Ail himself. He is the divine Lord, the earthly manifestation of the gods, and his presence radiates power. The litter stops directly before your small village, a silent, imposing presence. The king is an awe-inspiring figure, truly regal. He is dressed in an incredibly elaborate headdress of vibrant quetzal feathers that cascade down his back like a living waterfall of iridescent green, shimmering with every slight movement. Jade and polished shell ornaments gleam from his chest and arms, catching the sunlight. His face is painted a deep, striking red, the sacred color of the east, of the rising sun, of life-giving blood itself. Large gold plugs stretch his earlobes, and a magnificent nose piece, shaped like a powerful serpent, curves gracefully over his upper lip. The villagers immediately prostrate themselves, falling to the ground, touching their foreheads to the cool, packed earth. You quickly follow suit, an instinct taking over, feeling the rough ground against your skin. You wouldn't dare look directly at the king. To do so would be a grave insult, an act of supreme disrespect that could have severe consequences. Rise. A commanding voice suddenly booms out, not the king's, but his spokesman's, a noble who stands tall and imposing beside the litter. The divine Lord Yike 1/4 and Chank 1/4 Ail, Shield of the Sun, captor of Abi 1/4 Alumhabe 1/4, 13th in the line of Jaguar Kings, graces your humble village with his divine presence. Present your offerings. One by one, the villagers approach, heads still respectfully bowed, and place their carefully chosen gifts before the litter. When your turn comes, your legs feel weak, almost trembling beneath you, and your mouth is completely dry. You carefully place your small basket of bins with the other offerings, making sure to keep your eyes downcast, not daring to meet the gaze of anyone, least of all the king. These are fine beans, the spokesman says, his voice carrying clearly. The gods will be pleased with such an offering. Perhaps they will send abundant rain for the next planting. You back away, feeling a wave of intense relief wash over you, grateful to have completed your part without incident. The king never speaks a single word. He doesn't need to. His divine presence, his silent majesty, is communication enough. His power is understood without utterance. After all the offerings are presented, the magnificent procession continues its journey toward the great ceremonial center. The villagers watch, mesmerized, until it finally disappears from view, swallowed by the dense jungle. Then, released from the awestruck silence, they immediately begin discussing the event in excited, animated tones. Did you see his headdress? The quetzal feathers must have come all the way from the distant highlands. His jade necklace was larger and more luminous than any I've ever seen. They say he captured 3 kings in battle and personally sacrificed them himself at the Temple of the Jaguar. The conversations swirl around you, a vibrant tapestry of shared awe and collective memory, as everyone slowly returns to their various tasks, invigorated by the royal encounter. Meeting royalty has clearly energized the entire village, giving them a powerful story they will retell, with embellishments and awe, for months to come. As the afternoon wears on, the heat becomes even more intense, pressing down on everything. The air is so thick with humidity that it genuinely feels like you're breathing through a wet cloth, each breath a slight effort. You continue to help with the final stages of harvesting, your movements becoming noticeably slower as physical fatigue begins to set in, a deep weariness in your bones. The older man who reads 1/4 bends works nearby, moving with the deliberate, careful pace of someone who has learned to conserve their energy over many years, a master of endurance. Tonight there will be a feast, he tells you, his voice low and steady, a promise of celebration, to celebrate the king's procession and, more importantly, to thank the gods for the harvest they've given us. There will be dancing, and there will be Balche tilde copyright. Balche tilde copyright, you remember, is a mildly intoxicating drink, brewed from fermented honey and the bark of the Balche tilde copyright tree. The Maya believe it helps them communicate more directly with the gods, blurring the line between the mortal and divine. As the sun begins its slow descent toward the western horizon, painting the sky in fiery hues, the workers return to the village. Women are already bustling, preparing an abundance of food for the feast, grinding more corn for fresh tortillas, cooking huge pots of beans and squash, and preparing venison and turkey in underground pits lined with hot stones. a traditional method that infuses the meat with smoky flavor. You help where you can, your body moving almost on instinct, while your mind tries to process and make sense of this intensely immersive experience. This blend of the mundane and the profound, the physical fatigue from a day of manual labor settles deep into your muscles, a pleasant ache, your eyelids feel heavy, your limbs pleasantly exhausted. The feast officially begins as darkness finally falls, wrapping the village in its velvety embrace. Torches, made of resinous wood, and small cooking fires illuminate the central area of the village, casting dancing patterns of light and shadow. The rich, mouth-watering smell of cooked meat and roasting corn fills the air, a truly primal aroma of bounty. Children dart excitedly between the adults, thrilled to be allowed to stay up late, their laughter a joyful counterpoint to the more serious conversation of the grown-ups. Musicians begin to play their instruments, wooden flutes, turtle-shell drums, and rattles made from gourds. The melodies are hauntingly beautiful, unlike any music you've heard before, following tonal patterns that seem alien yet strangely moving, speaking to a deeper part of your soul. Food is shared communally, a testament to the village's spirit of togetherness. You sit cross-legged on a woven mat, accepting a wooden plate generously piled with venison, turkey, fresh tortillas, black beans, and squash. The meat is incredibly tender, seasoned with a kit which gives it a distinctive red color and earthy taste. Small bowls of fiery habanero sauce are passed around, and you learn quickly that just a tiny amount adds an intense, thrilling heat to the food. Gourds of Balche tilde copyright circulate freely. When one reaches you, you take a small sip. The taste is sweet and tangy, with an underlying herbal bitterness from the bark. It warms your throat and stomach, and even this small amount creates a pleasant, subtle floating sensation in your mind. As you eat and drink, you observe the community around you, despite the undeniable hard work and the often harsh conditions of their lives. There's an undeniable joy here, a deep sense of connection. Children laugh and play without inhibition. Adults share stories and jokes, their voices low and comforting. Elders are treated with profound respect, given the best portions of food and the most comfortable places to sit, their wisdom clearly valued. After the meal, dancers emerge to perform in the center of the gathering. Men wearing elaborate masks depicting powerful animals and revered gods move in complex, ancient patterns. Women, in their huipils embroidered with symbols of fertility and abundance, sway in graceful counterpoint, their movements flowing and elegant. The music intensifies, the drums beating faster, the flutes rising to higher, more piercing notes, building to a powerful crescendo. The older man who reads its 1/4 bend sits beside you again, his presence a comforting anchor. Do you understand what they're dancing? He asks, his voice cutting through the sounds of the celebration. You shake your head, mesmerized by the performance but unable to grasp its full meaning. It's the story of creation, he explains, his voice filled with ancient reverence. How the gods made the world and all living things. How they tried 3 times to create humans, first from mud, then from wood, and finally from corn. Only the corn people, that's us, the Maya, were truly successful. We could speak and move and properly honor the gods who made us. You recognize the story, or at least fragments of it, from your vague knowledge of the Popol Vuh, the sacred text of Maya creation myths that miraculously survived the Spanish conquest. But hearing it described by someone who truly believes it, who sees it not as mere mythology but as sacred, living truth, gives it a different, much deeper resonance. And now they dance the journey of the hero twins, he continues, as new dancers take the center space, their movements embodying the tale, Hunahun's Balank, who descended to the perilous realm of Xibalba, the underworld, and defeated the cunning lords of death through sheer cleverness and courage, eventually becoming the sun and moon in the sky. The dancers move with incredible precision, their bodies telling the epic story without a single word. One dancer wears a jaguar pelt, representing one of the fearsome lords of the underworld, moving with predatory grace. Others wear masks adorned with stark death symbols, skulls and bones painted in chilling black and white. As you watch, utterly captivated, your eyelids grow heavier. The rhythmic movements of the dancers, the hypnotic, ancient music, the subtle effects of the Balche copyright, and the profound physical exhaustion from the day's labor, all combine to create an almost trance-like state. Your breathing slows, deepens, becoming steady and calm. Your muscles relax further into the woven mat beneath you, a pleasant heaviness spreading through your limbs. The old man notices your growing drowsiness. Rest now, he says gently, his voice kind. Tomorrow, we prepare for the ceremony at the temple. The king has requested a sacrifice to ensure good harvests and victory in battle. This jolts you momentarily more alert. A cold spark of unease. Sacrifice. Will it be an animal, or a human? The unspoken question hangs heavy in the air, but your tongue feels thick, your thoughts clouded with fatigue, making it impossible to voice your fear. Sleep, the old man says, his hand gently on your arm, helping you slowly to your feet. The gods will speak to you in dreams again, perhaps with more clarity this time. He guides you back to the small limestone house where you awoke this morning, a haven of familiar comfort. Ixchel is already there, patiently preparing the sleeping area for you. She helps you lie down on the reed mat, placing a small bundle of cloth under your head as a pillow, a gesture of thoughtful care. The copland scent burns again, its sweet smoke creating spiraling patterns in the dim, firelit air. Rest well, she says, her voice already seeming to come from far away, as sleep begins its inexorable claim on you. Tomorrow brings new challenges, new blessings. As you drift towards sleep, your sharp awareness of this ancient Maya world begins to blur around the edges, like an image softening out of focus. The sounds of the continuing celebration outside fade, becoming a distant hum. The feel of the reed mat beneath you softens, becoming almost imperceptible. The last thing you notice, before sleep finally takes you completely, is the cool, solid weight of the jade pendant against your chest, a tangible anchor to this time and place that is so utterly not your own. Your breathing deepens, becoming slow and regular. Your muscles relax completely. Your consciousness begins to float, untethered, drifting free. Perhaps, in these profound dreams, the gods will indeed speak to you, helping you to understand why you've been brought to this ancient world and what you are truly meant to learn here. And as you slip into the deeper realms of sleep, a profound question forms in your mind, echoing in the quiet chambers of your consciousness. Will you wake tomorrow still in the vibrant, complex world of the ancient Maya, or will your consciousness, like a spirit returning to its vessel, return to your own familiar time? Only the gods know for certain. For now, you surrender fully to sleep, to the primal rhythm of your own breathing, to the distant, hypnotic sounds of flutes and drums, celebrating the eternal dance of life, death, and rebirth that lies at the very heart of Maya belief. The night wraps around you like a warm embrace, holding you securely as your mind drifts further and further into darkness. Sleep comes, deep and complete, a profound release, and in that sleep, perhaps, the answers you seek truly await. You wake to the distinct, resonant sound of a conch shell trumpet echoing across the village. The haunting, powerful tone vibrates through the very walls of your small limestone house, pulling you sharply from the depths of sleep. For a moment, you're utterly disoriented, expecting to see your familiar bedroom ceiling, the objects of your own world. Instead, the same packed earth floor and the thatched roof from yesterday greet your opening eyes. You are still here. You are definitively still in the ancient Maya world. Dawn light filters gently through the doorway, painting the interior walls with that familiar, soft golden glow. Your body feels different again. Not the initial unfamiliarity of your very first awakening, but a new kind of tired. Muscles are sore from yesterday's field work and the long walk, protesting their recent harsh treatment. Your skin feels sticky from the constant humidity, and the reed mat beneath you has left faint, crisscross impressions on your arms and legs. You run your fingers over these temporary marks, marveling again at how profoundly present you feel in this physical form, how deeply it anchors you to this place. Ixchel is already up. You hear her movements near the hearth fire, where she's diligently preparing the morning meal. The three stones of the hearth, forming that sacred triangle, are still there, representing the cosmic creation. Smoke rises through a small opening in the roof, creating shifting, ephemeral patterns against the early morning light. You slept deeply, she says, not looking up from the corn dough she's expertly patting into tortillas. No cries or strange words in the night, Perhaps the gods have finished speaking to you for now. Her tone suggests a quiet understanding, a knowing acceptance of whatever spiritual journeys you might be undertaking. You sit up slowly, each movement deliberate as your stiff muscles grudgingly adjust. The jade pendant still hangs around your neck, cool against your skin despite the day's growing warmth. Outside, the village is slowly coming alive again. The rhythmic sound of corn being ground on stone metates, chickens clucking lazily, children's voices calling to one another at a gentle, familiar symphony of a new Maya day. Today we go to the ceremonial center. Ixthel continues, her voice calm and purposeful. The king has called for special offerings. It is a great honor for our village to participate. She hands you a gourd filled with water. It's slightly warm, and tastes faintly of minerals from the cenote where it was collected. You drink deeply, feeling the cool liquid spread through your body, bringing blessed relief to your parched throat. The morning meal is similar to yesterday's, corn tortillas, but this time served with a rich paste made from squash seeds and chili. The flavors are intense, nutty, spicy, complex, a different taste profile from yesterday, but equally satisfying. You eat slowly, savoring each bite, truly noticing how different this deliberate, mindful eating is from the rushed breakfasts of your modern life. Here, food is sacred, grown with immense care, prepared with intention, and eaten with a profound sense of gratitude for the gifts of the earth. As you eat, children peer curiously through the doorway again. Their small, brown bodies are mostly naked or clad in simple tunics. Their black hair, cut straight across the forehead in the distinctive Maya style, frames wide, dark eyes that study you with unabashed interest. When you offer them a shy smile, they giggle and duck away, only to return moments later for another peek, their curiosity insatiable. After the meal, Ixthel helps you prepare for the journey to the ceremonial center. She brings a clean Hui pill, this one even more elaborately embroidered than the garment you wore yesterday. It features intricate geometric patterns in vibrant blue and red, interwoven with symbols you recognize as glyphs for water and maize. She also produces a small pot of red ochre, which she uses to paint simple, stylized designs on your cheeks, as subtle marks of status and belonging within the community. The walk is long, she explains gently as she works. We must pass through the forest and cross the river before reaching the sacred city. The old ones and children will ride in litters carried by strong men, but you and I, we will walk. Outside, the village is bustling with preparations for the journey. People are carrying baskets filled with food, rolls of intricately woven fabric, and small clay figures to present as offerings. Some wear their finest clothing, adorned with whatever small luxuries they possess, a single bright feather here, a delicate shell necklace there. Everyone brings something, no matter how humble, a token of devotion. The old man, Kinich, who read the 1/4 ipins for you yesterday, approaches. Today, he wears a headdress of simple cotton cloth wrapped carefully around his head, marking him as someone of special status, perhaps a minor priest or an esteemed shaman. He carries his familiar walking stick, carved with symbols of the gods, and a small bag that clinks softly with each step, likely containing items for trade or ritual. Ah, the dreamer awakens, he says, with that knowing smile, his cloudy eyes somehow finding yours despite his partial blindness. Did the gods visit you strongly in the night? You shake your head, feeling a slight regret. I don't remember any specific dreams, just a profound sense of broken bar understanding. He nods thoughtfully. Sometimes silence is an answer, too. The gods speak in many ways, through dreams, through the patterns of thrown seeds, through the flight of birds, but also through clarity, through intuition. We must learn to listen with more than our ears, more than our eyes. Your spirit seems lighter today. He introduces himself properly again. Kinich, named after the sun god, he tells you he serves as the village's daykeeper, tracking the sacred calendar and advising on auspicious days for planting, harvesting, and important ceremonies. Today is a good day for offerings, he says. 7 manik in that soul can count. A day of balance, when the veil between our world and the world of the gods grows thin. Come, walk with me. I will tell you of the city we are about to visit. You must understand its history, its purpose, to truly appreciate this journey. The village forms a procession, the youngest children and the eldest members riding comfortably in simple litters carried by strong young men. Everyone else walks, carrying their offerings with a sense of quiet purpose. You and Kinich fall into step somewhere in the middle, your feet finding a comfortable rhythm on the well-worn path, a path worn smooth by countless generations walking the same route. As you walk, Kinich explains that the ceremonial center you're visiting is called Exaktun, and it's one of several important cities currently under Tycle's powerful control. The Maya world, he clarifies, isn't a single, unified empire with one ruler, but rather a complex collection of city-states. These city-states are sometimes allies, forming powerful leagues, but just as often, they are bitter enemies. Wars are frequent, he explains, often driven by the need for resources or prestige, and captured rulers are frequently sacrificed in elaborate public ceremonies, a display of power and religious devotion. The city we visit today is called Exaktun, he says, pronouncing it carefully. It was once a powerful rival to Tycle, standing on its own, but now, it serves our great king, Yike IV and Chank IV Ail. Its temples are incredibly ancient, aligned precisely with the stars, marking the solstices and equinoxes, charting the very rhythm of the cosmos. The priests there are profoundly wise in the ways of time and the heavens, true scholars of the celestial dance. The path takes you through incredibly dense jungle. Massive ceiba trees tower overhead, their trunks buttressed with enormous, flaring roots that create natural alcoves. In some of these, you notice small offerings of copal incense and food have been placed, offerings to the spirits of the forest. Brightly colored birds call out from the canopy. Toucans with their enormous, vibrant bills, scarlet macaws flashing like brilliant flames through the emerald green leaves. Howler monkeys roar in the distance, their deep, guttural calls carrying for miles through the humid air, a primal sound that speaks of untamed wilderness. The jungle truly embraces you, wrapping you in its green, living arms. The air is thick with moisture, and the rich, complex scent of both decay and vibrant growth fills your nostrils. It's that distinctive smell of the rainforest, a place where everything is constantly dying and being reborn, an eternal cycle of life. Your skin becomes slick with sweat, but the dense tree canopy provides welcome shade from the direct, intense sun. Kinich points out useful plants as you walk. The sapodilla tree, whose sap provides chewing gum. The copal tree, whose resin is burned as incense during rituals. Medicinal herbs, used to treat fevers and wounds. Their properties known through centuries of careful observation. The Maya, he explains, don't see the jungle as a wild, untamed wilderness to be conquered, but as a vast, living garden to be carefully tended and harvested. Every plant has a purpose, a story, a spirit. Before the first fathers created humans, Kinich tells you, his voice soft, almost like a story being whispered, they made the animals and trees. They gave each one a voice and asked them to speak their names and give praise to their creators. But the animals could only squawk and howl and roar. They couldn't speak properly or remember their creators. So the gods decided to make a new being, one who could speak and remember and give proper worship. You recognize this as part of the profound creation story from the Popol Vuh, the sacred text. Though this revered book won't be written down for centuries yet, the oral tradition already contains these ancient, deeply held beliefs, passed down through generations. After about an hour of walking, the path suddenly opens onto the bank of a river. It's broad and slow-moving, its surface perfectly reflecting the brilliant blue sky above, a mirror of the heavens. Simple wooden canoes, carved from single logs, wait patiently to ferry the villagers across. You help load the precious offerings into one of the dugouts, then carefully climb in yourself, finding your balance as it rocks gently beneath you. The canoe glides silently across the water, propelled by a young man with a long wooden pole, expertly pushing against the riverbed. Fish dart beneath the surface, quick flashes of silver against the river's sandy bottom. Water lilies float serenely in the shallows, their pristine white flowers open to the morning sun. A caiman, a small alligator-like creature, watches from the opposite bank, only its size and the ridge of its back visible above the water. A patient, ancient presence. Once across, the procession reforms and continues through more jungle. The terrain begins to rise gently now, a subtle incline, Through occasional breaks in the trees, you catch tantalizing glimpses of stone structures ahead, a vast, white limestone buildings dazzling in the sunlight. Growing closer, your heart beats faster with anticipation, a thrill of discovery. Finally, the trees thin dramatically, and you step out onto a massive, cleared plaza, paved with brilliant white stone. The sight before you truly takes your breath away. Pyramids, immense and majestic, rise against the sky, their stepped sides climbing dramatically toward the heavens. Temples crown their summits, their roof combs elaborately carved with intricate images of gods and powerful rulers. Long, impressive buildings flank the plaza, grand palaces for the nobility and priests. Still, tall, carved stone monuments stand at regular intervals, recording the glorious deeds of kings and important celestial events through a complex system of images and hieroglyphs. The ceremonial center is alive with activity. Hundreds, perhaps thousands, of people from surrounding villages have gathered, all bringing offerings similar to your own. Priests, in incredibly elaborate costumes, direct the proceedings, their headdresses of shimmering quetzal feathers and powerful jaguar pelts marking their exalted status. Warriors stand guard, their bodies painted for battle, their obsidian-edged weapons gleaming menacingly in the sun, a reminder of the power that underpins this grand civilization. Kinich leads you across the sprawling plaza toward the largest pyramid. The limestone paving stones feel hot through your sandals, radiating the sun's accumulated warmth. The open space offers no shade, and the heat is intense after the relative coolness of the jungle. Sweat trickles down your back and between your shoulder blades. Your breath comes faster, a little shallow, as you try to take in the overwhelming scale and breathtaking beauty of the architecture. It's truly monumental. The temple at the top honors Kak, the rain god, Kinich explains, his voice resonating with ancient reverence. In this dry season, we must please him, so he will bring life-giving water for our crops, to ensure the next cycle of abundance. At the very base of the pyramid, people are carefully leaving their offerings on large stone altars. You watch as Ixchel carefully places the beautifully woven textile she carried all this way, smoothing it with relevant hands, a gesture of deep respect. Others leave food, fragrant incense, small jade beads, or clay figurines of the gods. Nothing is too humble to be offered. Even a perfect flower or an unusually shaped stone might please the powerful deities. When it's your turn, you step forward with the small clay figure you've been carrying, a representation of Kak with his distinctive long nose and axe, a symbol of his power to both give and take rain. You place it carefully among the other offerings, feeling a strange, profound sense of connection to this ancient practice. Even though the specific beliefs aren't your own, there's something deeply human about the act of giving, of acknowledging forces greater than yourself, of participating in a collective hope for the future. After all the offerings are presented, a profound hush falls over the gathered crowd, an almost palpable silence that descends upon the vast plaza. From the very top of the pyramid, a priest appears, his figure silhouetted against the sky. His face is painted blue, the sacred color of water, of life itself. His magnificent headdress resembles the head of Kak, with the god's characteristic long, downturned nose. He raises his arms to the sky, a dramatic gesture, and begins to chant in a powerful, sing-song voice that carries clearly across the entire plaza. Though you can't understand all the words, you recognize invocations to Kak, desperate pleas for rain, for life-giving water to nourish the precious crops, to sustain the people. The crowd responds at intervals with a single, resonant word you now recognize, Lakin. So be it. As the chanting continues, your attention is suddenly drawn to a movement at the side of the plaza. Warriors are leading a group of bound men. Their bodies are painted black, and their expressions are chillingly resigned, accepting their fate. With a sudden, cold chill that runs down your spine, you realize these are captives, taken in recent battles with neighboring cities. They will be the sacrifices to Kak. You look at Kinich, uncertain how to react, your face likely betraying your horror. His weathered face, however, shows no surprise, no distress, only a quiet acceptance. This is simply the way of his world, he seems to convey, a necessary act for the continuation of life itself. Without blood, there is no rain, he says simply. Noticing your discomfort, his voice low. The gods gave their blood to create humans. Now humans must return the gift. It is the sacred exchange, before the captives can be led up the steep pyramid steps. However, something entirely unexpected happens. King Yike IV and Chank IV Ail himself suddenly arrives at the plaza, carried on his elaborate litter. The crowd immediately prostrates themselves, touching their foreheads to the hot stone pavement. A ripple of collective reverence. You quickly follow suit, feeling the smooth, hot stone against your skin, a silent participant in this ancient act of homage. The king speaks, a rare occurrence that sends a ripple of excitement and awe through the prostrate crowd. His voice is strong and clear, carrying the undeniable authority of divine right, of a ruler touched by the gods. Today we honor Kag not with the blood of enemies, he announces, his voice ringing across the plaza, but with the blood of kings. I, Shield of the Sun, will give my sacred blood so that our people may prosper and thrive. A murmur of profound awe passes through the crowd. For a king, a divine lord, to offer his own royal blood is a sacrifice of the highest order, a truly monumental act of devotion and commitment to his people. The captives are led away, spared for now, though likely to meet their fate at another, less significant ceremony. The king is carried to the very base of the pyramid. There, attendants help him from his litter and carefully remove his elaborate headdress and much of his glittering jewelry, stripping him of some of his external symbols of office. Though momentarily shorn of these trappings, his bearing remains undeniably regal, his presence still commanding the attention of all. Priests approach, carrying obsidian blades, razor-sharp instruments and stingray spines. The king extends his tongue, and in a swift, practiced motion that makes you wince, a priest draws the stingray spine through it. Bright red blood flows immediately, collected carefully on strips of white bark paper. The king shows no pain, his face impassive, almost serene, as his precious blood, carrying the very essence of the gods who flow through his royal veins, is gathered for the offering. Next, the priest hands the king a thorn-studded cord. With practiced, ritualistic movements, the king draws this through his foreskin, adding more blood to the paper. This self-mutilation is performed with profound dignity, not as a punishment, but as a sacred duty, a powerful offering. The bloodied paper is then placed in a ceramic vessel and carried reverently up the pyramid steps to be burned before the magnificent image of Kak at the temple's summit. The smoke, it is believed, will carry the essence of this royal blood, this divine offering, directly to the heavens, feeding the rain god and ensuring his vital favor for the kingdom. As this solemn ritual concludes, the atmosphere subtly shifts. The profound tension of the blood offering slowly gives way. Musicians begin to play again, drums, rattles, flutes, and turtle shell instruments, creating complex, celebratory rhythms. Dancers appear, their movements telling the story of Kak bringing rain to a parched world. Their costumes feature brilliant blue and green feathers, gleaming jade beads, and shell ornaments that catch the light as they move, creating a mesmerizing spectacle. The palpable tension of the blood ritual dissipates, giving way to a more joyous celebration. The king returns to his litter and is carried to a shaded area where he can observe the festivities. A benevolent patron. The crowd relaxes, people beginning to talk animatedly among themselves, sharing their impressions and awe. Children dart between adults, engaging in improvised games, their energy restored. Food and drink are shared generously. You are offered another gourd of Balche tilde copyright, which you sip cautiously, appreciating its sweet, fermented liquid that creates a pleasant warmth in your stomach and a slight, subtle buzzing in your fingertips. Ixchel appears beside you, offering you corn tamales, wrapped steaming in leaves. As you unwrap them, the aroma of sweet corn and spices fills the air. As you eat and watch the energetic dancers, Kinich introduces you to people from other villages, not just farmers like yourself, but specialized craftspeople. A potter whose black ceramic vessels are sought after throughout the entire region. A weaver whose intricate textiles incorporate complex symbols representing the cosmos, miniature universes woven into cloth. A jade carver who transforms the precious, hard stone into exquisite representations of the gods. From these conversations, you begin to truly understand the profound complexity of Maya society. This isn't just a simple agricultural community, it's a sophisticated civilization with highly specialized labor, extensive long-distance trade networks, and complex political alliances that shift and evolve. The farmers in your village depend on these craftspeople for tools and luxury items, while the craftspeople, in turn, depend on the farmers for their food. Everyone depends on the king and the priests to maintain proper relations with the gods, ensuring cosmic balance and earthly prosperity. It's a vast, intricate web of interdependence. The celebration continues throughout the afternoon. Vibrant and spirited, you find yourself drawn to the stelae, the tall, carved stone monuments that meticulously record royal history and astronomical events. Though you can't read the hieroglyphs that cover their surfaces, you recognize images of powerful rulers standing triumphantly over defeated enemies, elaborate dates marking significant celestial alignments, and representations of the gods receiving offerings. Kinich notices your deep interest. These stones tell the story of our kings, he explains, his voice filled with reverence for the ancient records, how they rose to power, their great victories, their sacred connections to the gods. They also mark the precise passage of time and the movement of stars, the completion of calendar cycles. He points to one stela, featuring a particularly elaborate carving of a king in full regalia. This one records the end of the last 1/4 age in a period of 20 tons, or about 20 of your solar years. At such completions, new fire is drilled, old ceramic vessels are ceremonially broken, and the king performs special rituals to ensure the successful, auspicious transition to the new cycle. Time, you realize, is understood profoundly differently here. For the Maya, it isn't a straight, linear progression moving eternally forward, but a series of embedded, cyclical movements, say days within months, within years, within larger periods, all turning like intricate, interlocking gears. The past isn't dead, but continues to influence the present, just as present actions shape the future. The gods who created the world in mythic time are still actively present, still requiring acknowledgement and offerings, still participating in the ongoing unfolding of existence. As the sun begins its slow descent toward the western horizon, painting the sky in fiery oranges and purples, the crowd at the ceremonial center begins to thin. Many have long journeys back to their villages and must leave before darkness falls completely. Your own group gathers near the edge of the plaza, preparing for the return walk. But before you depart, Kinich leads you to one final structure, not a towering pyramid, but a low, elegant building with multiple doorways. Inside, you're surprised to find what appears to be a school. Young men, clearly the sons of nobles and priests, sit cross-legged on woven mats, diligently practicing writing on bark paper. Their teachers, older men with the dignified bearing of scholars, move among them, correcting their work and demonstrating proper technique with careful, precise movements. Here, the sons of noble houses learn the sacred knowledge, Kinich explains, his voice hushed with respect for the institution, how to read and write the glyphs, how to calculate the intricate calendar dates, how to track the complex movements of stars and planets. This knowledge is power. It connects us to the gods and to our revered ancestors. You watch, fascinated, as a young scribe carefully forms hieroglyphs with a brush made from animal hair. The symbols are both incredibly artistic and remarkably precise. Some represent whole words, while others are syllables that can be combined to write any sound in the Maya language. The system is incredibly sophisticated, capable of recording not just factual information, but poetry, profound religious concepts, and detailed historical narratives. Few are chosen for this honor, Kinich continues. Most will never learn these skills, but those who do become the keepers of our history, the calculators of time, the predictors of eclipses and planetary movements, truly vital members of our society. As you watch the young scribes at work, you're struck by the profound contrast between this intellectual pursuit and the raw, powerful blood ritual you witnessed earlier. The Maya world, you realize, contains both an incredibly profound mathematical and astronomical understanding alongside religious practices that seem brutal by modern standards. This civilization, you conclude, cannot be easily categorized as merely primitive or simply advanced. It is both, and neither, following its own complex, internal logic and values. It exists on its own terms, a rich tapestry of contradictions. The journey back to your village is quieter than the morning's procession. People are tired from the day's events and the long walks, the emotional intensity of the ceremonies, the sheer awe of it all. The jungle seems different in the late afternoon. Light shadows are longer, bird calls are fewer, and the air is cooling slightly as evening approaches. Your own body feels heavy with fatigue. Your feet ache from walking on the rough stone and dirt paths. Your mind is full, almost overflowing, with the day's experiences, the king's blood dripping onto white paper, the vibrant dancers swirling in feathered costumes, the young scribes practicing their ancient art. You try, in your weary state, to make sense of this world that is both strangely familiar and utterly foreign. Crossing the river again as sunset approaches, you watch fish jumping for insects, skimming the water's surface. Each circular ripple spreads outward, intersecting with others to create complex, beautiful patterns, just like time in the Maya world. VUA cycles within cycles, patterns emerging from the intersection of different periods. It's a living metaphor. By the time you reach your village, twilight has descended, painting the sky in deep blues and purples. Cooking fires glow orange against the deepening evening, beckoning you home. The comforting smell of corn and beans welcomes you. Children run to greet the returning procession, eager to hear about the ceremonies and celebrations they've missed. In your small limestone house, Ixchel lights the copal incense again, its sweet smoke a comforting presence, and prepares a simple evening meal. The physical and emotional exertion of the day has left you profoundly tired. Your limbs feel heavy, your eyelids struggling to stay open. After eating just enough to satisfy your hunger, you sink onto your reed mat, your body seeming to melt into its familiar surface. Kinrich visits briefly, bringing a small jade bead, a token from the ceremonial center. Place this under your tongue as you sleep, he instructs, his voice low and knowing. It may help the gods speak more clearly in your dreams, perhaps to unravel the riddles you solved before. The smooth stone feels cool and comforting under your tongue. Around you, the village settles into its night rhythms, soft conversations, a distant flute playing a melancholy tune, the constant background chorus of insects and frogs from the surrounding jungle, a symphony of the night. Through the doorway, you can see stars beginning to appear in the darkening sky, at the same stars the Maya priests study so carefully, tracking their movements across the seasons, across the centuries. Your awareness begins to drift. Your thoughts become less coherent, more dreamlike, as sleep approaches. The events of the day replay in fragments, the king's blood dripping onto white paper, dancers swirling in feathered costumes, young scribes forming precise glyphs with careful brush strokes. Behind these vivid images lies a persistent, nagging question. Why are you here, in this time and place, so far from your own? Is there something you're meant to learn? Something you're meant to witness? The jade bead under your tongue seems to grow warmer, spreading a pleasant, subtle tingling sensation through your body. Your muscles relax completely, surrendering to the profound fatigue of the day's long journey. Your breathing deepens, slows, finds a rhythm as ancient as humanity itself. As consciousness slips away, you have the strange sensation of floating above your sleeping body, seeing yourself lying on the reed mat in the simple Maya house. But then your perspective shifts again, expanding outward, seeing the village, the ceremonial center, the entire Maya world spread below you like a living, breathing map. And beyond that, you sense the turning of time itself. The great cycles the Maya track so carefully, wheels within wheels, marking the passage of days, years, centuries. In this expanded awareness, just before sleep claims you completely, you have a fleeting, almost prophetic impression, a vision of drought, of failing crops, of once thriving cities abandoned to the relentless, encroaching jungle, a profound sense of ending, but also, paradoxically, a sense of continuation, of transformation rather than true, absolute death. Then even this fades, as you sink into the deep, healing embrace of sleep. Tomorrow, perhaps, more will be revealed. For now, rest comes like a blessing from the gods themselves, carrying you into dreams where past, present, and future merge into a single, eternal moment. You awaken to a different sensation this time. It's not the gentle comfort of before, but a dull, insistent pain. Your head throbs with each heartbeat, a heavy, rhythmic pounding that feels like it's vibrating behind your eyes. Your mouth feels dry, incredibly dry, like sun-baked clay, and your stomach churns uneasily. A low, persistent queasiness. Opening your eyes requires a monumental effort, and when they finally do open, the morning light even through the small doorway stabs through your skull like a dozen tiny obsidian blades. It's a truly awful feeling. The jade bead Kinrich gave you last night is still under your tongue. You carefully, gingerly remove it, placing it gently beside your sleeping mat, a smooth, cool weight against the rough reeds. The inside of your limestone house is empty. Ixtal must have risen early, leaving you to sleep, perhaps recognizing your deep exhaustion or your spiritual journey. From outside, the usual morning sounds of the village filter in, the familiar rhythmic thump-thump of grinding stone against stone as women prepare corn, the cheerful clamor of children's voices, the occasional crow of roosters, announcing the day long after dawn has actually arrived. But today, these familiar sounds don't soothe. Instead, they grate against your oversensitive senses, each one intensifying the pounding in your head. You sit up slowly, meticulously, waiting for the dizzy, spinning sensation to subside, clutching your head in your hands. Your body aches in unfamiliar ways now, muscles unaccustomed to yesterday's long walk and strenuous field work are protesting their harsh treatment. With careful, deliberate movements, you make your way to the doorway and push aside the fabric covering. The sunlight, even though filtered by the morning clouds, is blinding at first. You instinctively shield your eyes with your hand, allowing them to adjust gradually, patiently. The village looks the same as it did yesterday, yet somehow subtly different. The colors seem more vivid, sharper, the sounds more distinct, almost painfully clear. The smells of the earthy dampness, the cooking fires, the distant jungle seem more intense, more immediate. It's as if the jade bead, or perhaps the powerful visions from your dreams, has somehow heightened your senses, making everything around you feel more immediate, more profoundly present. Ixchel approaches, carrying a small clay pot, her movements graceful and purposeful. Her usual neutral expression shifts to one of concern as she sees your face, likely pale and drawn. The dreams came strongly last night, she says, not asking a question, but stating what seems obvious to her. An intuitive understanding. Your spirit traveled far while your body rested. She guides you gently back inside and helps you sit down on a small wooden stool near the hearth. From the clay pot, she pours a thick, dark liquid into a gourd cup and hands it to you. Drink, she instructs, her voice firm but kind. It will ease the pain and clear your thoughts. The liquid smells incredibly bitter and earthy, almost medicinal. You hesitate, a natural human reluctance to drink something so unappealing, then force yourself to take a small sip. The taste is as unpleasant as the smell, like wet, dark soil mixed with something powerfully astringent. But you force yourself to drink it all down, gulping it. Almost immediately, a strange, cooling sensation spreads from your stomach outward, gradually, miraculously, easing the intense pounding in your head. The pain recedes, a blessed relief. Bark of the sacred cibet tree, Ixchel explains, her voice calm, with leaves of wild tobacco and seeds of the morning glory, a medicine for those who have walked too far in the spirit world, for those whose minds have journeyed beyond. As the pain recedes further, memories of strange, powerful dreams surface in your mind, clearer now, less fragmented. Visions of profound drought, of starving children with hollow eyes, of once bustling plazas now empty and desolate, of the relentless jungle slowly reclaiming abandoned temples, their grandeur crumbling, but also, flashes of deep, intricate knowledge, as if the entire history of the Maya world had been poured directly into your mind while you slept. Complex calendar systems, vast trade routes, intricate political alliances, ingenious agricultural techniques. It's an overwhelming flood of information, both beautiful and terrifying. I saw why broken bar you begin, but struggle to find the right words. The complex, apocalyptic images that filled your dreams too vast, too profound for simple language. Ixchel nods slowly, patiently. The gods speak in riddles and fragments, in visions and feelings. It is not for us to understand everything they show us at once. Kinrich will help you make sense of the visions, to interpret their meaning for our world. She brings you a simple breakfast, a corn gruel, this time sweetened with honey, and watches as you eat. The food settles your stomach, and the medicine continues to work its quiet magic, bringing clarity to your thoughts, a gradual return to lucidity. By the time you finish eating, you feel almost normal again, though with a lingering sensitivity to light and sound, a faint echo of the intensity of the night. Today is market day, Ixchel tells you, her voice practical, a welcome anchor to the everyday. We will go to the local trading center. It is smaller than the great markets of Tikal, of course, but traders come from many villages to exchange their goods. Perhaps the activity, the bustle of life, will help ground your spirit back in this world. She helps you dress in clean clothing. Another Hui pill, this one with simpler embroidery than yesterday's ceremonial garment, more suitable for daily life. Your hair is carefully braided and wrapped with a cotton cloth, a practical and neat style. Around your neck, the jade pendant remains, a cool, constant reminder of your special status, a lingering mystery. As you leave your house, Kinich joins you. He carries his walking stick, carved with symbols of the gods, and a small, woven bag that clinks softly with each step, likely containing items he intends to trade. His gaze falls on you, thoughtful. Your eyes are different today, he observes, his cloudy eyes seeming to see deeply into yours. You have seen beyond the veil, haven't you? I had strange dreams, you admit, your voice still a little hoarse from the medicine. Visions of a broken bar. You hesitate, uncertain how to describe the apocalyptic images of abandoned cities and failed crops without sounding utterly mad. Kinich nods, his expression solemn. The jade bead, the sacred mushroom, may they open pathways between worlds. What you saw may be echoes of the past, glimpses of possible futures, or direct messages from the gods themselves, delivered through the spirit realm. As we walk to the market, tell me what you remember. We will speak of it. The path to the trading center leads through the familiar milpa fields. Young corn plants stand in neat, orderly rows, interspersed with climbing bean vines and the broad, spreading leaves of squash plants. Farmers work diligently among the crops, using stone tools to meticulously remove weeds and check for pests. Their movements practiced and efficient. They acknowledge Kinich with respectful nods as you pass, recognizing his status as daykeeper and elder. As you walk, you describe fragments of your powerful dreams, the devastating drought, the gnawing hunger, the once great cities abandoned to the relentless jungle. Kinich listens without interrupting, his weathered face giving nothing away, his expression unreadable, a stone mask of ancient wisdom. Only when you finish does he finally speak. Such visions have come to others in recent years, he says quietly, his voice a low murmur. The daykeepers in many villages, from far and wide, report similar unsettling dreams. Some believe they foretell a time of great challenge for our people, a turning of a difficult cycle. Do you think they will come true? You ask, a cold chill running through you despite the warm morning air. The fear of what you saw is visceral, deeply unsettling. Kinich gestures with his walking stick to the thriving fields around you, a sweeping motion that encompasses the vibrant life. Look at these milpas. For generations, our ancestors have planted and harvested here. They taught us to work with the cycles of rain and drought, not against them, to allow fields to rest and recover, to plant diverse crops that support each other, like the three sisters you see before you. But as our numbers grow, as our civilization expands, we must clear more land, plant more intensively, harvest more frequently. The balance shifts, does it not? He pauses, his gaze following a flock of brilliant green parrots that suddenly fly overhead, their calls sharp and clear against the humid air. The gods gave us this world in perfect balance. If that balance is disturbed, if we push too far, then consequences inevitably follow. This is the law of creation, the eternal truth. His words settle heavily between you as you continue walking, a profound weight of ancient wisdom and warning. After passing through the cultivated fields, the path enters a section of secondary forest. The trees here are younger, denser undergrowth, indicating this area was once cleared for farming but has been allowed to regrow, slowly reclaiming its wildness. Even here, though, you notice the forest is not truly wild in the way you might imagine. Useful trees have been actively encouraged, carefully cultivated. The ramon tree with its nutritious nuts, the sapodilla with its valuable chewing gum sap, the cacao tree with its precious, sacred beans. The Maya, it becomes clear, don't just farm their fields, they subtly farm the very forest itself, integrating it into their sustainable system. After about an hour's walk, sounds of intense human activity begin to reach you. Voices calling, children laughing, the rhythmic thump-thump of stone against stone, a steady hum of commerce. The path widens, joining several others to form a small, well-traveled road leading directly to the trading center. Unlike the grand ceremonial center you visited yesterday, this place has no towering pyramids or elaborately carved temples. Instead, it's a large, bustling plaza surrounded by simple wooden structures with thatched roofs, 8 permanent stalls for regular traders. In the very center of the plaza, temporary stands and woven mats display goods from more occasional visitors, those who travel in from nearby smaller communities. The ground is packed dirt rather than paved stone, and there are no carved stelae proudly recording royal histories. This is clearly a place of commerce, of practical exchange, not of ceremony or kingly pronouncements. Yet, the energy here is infectious, almost intoxicating. Hundreds of people move through the market, a vibrant, flowing river of humanity. Farmers with their surplus crops, craftspeople proudly displaying their wares, traders who travel between distant cities exchanging luxury goods. The air is filled with a rich tapestry of smells, cooking food, sweet fresh fruits, the pungent scent of curing hides, the subtle aroma of copal and scents. Colors abound, the vibrant reds and yellows of tropical fruits, the rich browns and blacks of ceramic vessels, the pristine whites and creams of cotton textiles, the glint of jade and obsidian catching the sun, sparkling with ancient allure. Iksha leads you to a bustling section where women sell textiles. She greets the other weavers warmly, a natural camaraderie amongst craftswomen, displaying the cloths she's brought to trade. Her work is clearly admired. The tight, even weave, the precise, natural dyeing, the intricate, meaningful patterns. After much animated discussion and good-natured haggling, a dance of negotiation, she trades 2 of her textiles for several measures of precious salt, some dried fish, a vital protein source, and a small pot of vibrant red dye made from cochineal insects, a valuable commodity. Kinich, meanwhile, has moved to an area where medicinal herbs and ritual items are sold. You follow, fascinated by the sheer variety. Bundles of dried plants hang, pungent with ancient wisdom. Seeds and nuts are stored in woven containers. Resins and incense fill the air with earthy scents. Carved wooden implements for spiritual practices lie alongside polished stones. Kinich trades some items from his bag, a small jade beads, similar to the one he gave you, for rare herbs that apparently don't grow in your local area. A testament to the extensive network of knowledge and trade. As you wander through the vibrant market, you're struck by the incredible variety and quality of goods available. Despite having no draft animals for pulling loads, and no wheeled vehicles, a technological gap that always puzzled you in history books, the Maya have created an astonishingly extensive and efficient trade network. Here, in this modest regional market, you find razor-sharp obsidian blades from the highlands of Guatemala, their edges capable of cutting better than any metal. Their salt from the coastal regions, absolutely essential for preserving food and maintaining health in this humid climate. Cacao beans from specialized growing regions, used both as currency and to make the elite's favored frothy, bitter drink. Jade, in various forms, a raw, polished, intricately carved its distinctive green color symbolizing water, life, and royal power. Exotic feathers from tropical birds, destined for ceremonial costumes and high-status clothing. Pottery from specialized production centers, some purely functional, some exquisitely decorative. Honey, collected from both wild and carefully cultivated bees, used as a sweetener and in fermented drinks. Copal resin for incense, filling the air with its sweet, ritualistic smoke. Even rubber, for the balls used in the ceremonial ball game, a sport with deep religious meaning. All these diverse goods, move tirelessly through the Maya world without horses, donkeys, or oxen, carried on human backs, transported in canoes along rivers, passed from community to community through these bustling regional markets, connecting the entire vast civilization. It makes you realize how utterly dependent their commerce is on human effort, on the strength of the people. In one corner of the plaza, you notice a group of men engaged in what appears to be a more formalized exchange. They consult painted bark paper books, make complex calculations using kakalbans as counters, and engage in intense, serious negotiations. Kinich explains these are professional merchants, called paktika, who coordinate a long-distance trade between the major cities. They belong to a specialized, powerful class with their own patron deities and specific ritual practices. Some of them travel as far as Teotihuacan in the central Mexican highlands, hundreds of miles away. An incredible journey for foot-bound traders. In the great cities, Kinich tells you, his voice filled with a hint of awe, the markets are many times this size. There you might find turquoise from the distant northern deserts, gold from the southern mountains, shells from both oceans, and exotic goods from lands so far away that even the paktika rarely visit them. It is a world much larger than our village. Near the center of the plaza, food vendors have set up bustling cooking stations. The enticing smell of roasting meat, simmering beans, and fresh tortillas makes your stomach growl. Despite the large breakfast you had, Ixchel uses some of her newly acquired salt to purchase a meal for the three of you. Tender turkey meat, seasoned with akit and local herbs, served with warm tortillas and a fiery habanero sauce. You find a shady spot at the edge of the plaza to eat, observing the constant, vibrant market activity around you, a living organism of human interaction, the lifeblood of the Maya economy flowing vigorously through this regional center, just as it flows through the larger cities and smaller villages, connecting the entire civilization in a complex web of commerce and sustenance. As you eat, you notice a group of individuals who distinctly stand out from the farmers and craftspeople. Their elaborate jade jewelry, intricately patterned clothing, and confident, almost arrogant bearing mark them clearly as nobility from one of the larger cities. Warriors, armed and painted, accompany them, not actively threatening anyone, but clearly present as protection, an unspoken assertion of power. Common people respectfully give them space, lowering their eyes as the nobles pass, a deferential gesture ingrained in society. One of the nobles, a young man wearing a jaguar skin draped casually over his shoulders, stops near your group. He studies you with open curiosity, his gaze lingering on the jade pendant around your neck, a symbol he clearly recognizes. Without addressing you directly, he speaks to Kinich. Your village has been blessed with a visitor from afar, he says, his dialect slightly different, more refined, than the Maya spoken in your humble community. The gods must favor you greatly. Kinich rises and bows his head respectfully, his wisdom acknowledging the youth's status. We are honored by their attention, Lord, as we are honored by yours. The young noble smiles, a fleeting, almost predatory flash, revealing jade inlays in his front teeth, a painful cosmetic modification that only the very elite can afford, a mark of true privilege and endurance. I am Balamk, son of the governor of Axaktun, he states, his voice carrying an inherent authority. My father serves the divine lord of Tikal. Our cities have enjoyed peace and prosperity under his rule, for many cycles. May it continue for many 1/4 ages to come. Kinich responds, a diplomatic blessing for enduring stability. Balamk glances at you again, his gaze sharp and inquisitive. The visitor has unusual features. From which city do they come? I do not recognize their lineage. Before Kinich can answer, another noble calls to Balamk from across the busy plaza. With a final, curious, lingering look, the young lord moves on, rejoining his companions. Be cautious around the nobility, Kinich murmurs, his voice low, once Balamk is out of earshot. A quiet warning. Their world is filled with intrigue and power struggles. What seems like casual interest may have deeper purpose, a hidden agenda. The son of a regional governor, as he said, Kinich replies, his eyes scanning the retreating noble. But the politics between cities is complex. Axaktun was once independent, a powerful rival to Tikal. Now it serves as a secondary center under Tikal's powerful control. Some families remember their former glory and chafe under Tikal's rule, seeking to regain their autonomy. Others benefit from the connection and seek to strengthen it. to rise within the new order. I do not know where Balaam's family stands in these matters, only that such families are like jaguars, always watchful, always seeking advantage. This brief glimpse into Maya geopolitics reminds you that beneath the apparent unity of a shared culture, language, and religion, lies a fragmented political landscape, a constant, often brutal, competition between city-states. The stability of the entire system depends heavily on the dominance of powerful centers like Tikal, a dominance enforced through both military might and strategic alliances, constantly shifting. If that dominance were to falter, if the king's power were to wane a broken bar, your thoughts return, with a new, chilling clarity, to the troubling visions from your dreams. Abandoned cities, failing crops. Could political instability, internal strife, and external rivalries contribute significantly to such a catastrophic collapse? The pieces of the puzzle begin to fit together in your mind, forming a complex, disturbing picture of a sophisticated civilization facing multiple, interconnected challenges, both environmental and man-made. After finishing your meal, you continue exploring the market. Ixchel completes her trading, efficiently acquiring items needed back in the village. New pots to replace broken ones, obsidian blades for tools, special herbs for medicine, cotton for weaving. The practical business of daily life continues, regardless of the high-stakes politics of kings or the vast cycles of the cosmos. Life, in its most fundamental form, must go on. As the afternoon progresses, you notice the sky darkening ominously to the west. Towering clouds begin to build on the horizon, massive, anvil-shaped formations that rise miles into the atmosphere, truly awe-inspiring in their scale. Lightning flickers silently within their depths, though the thunder is still too distant to hear. The first rains approach, Kinich observes, following your gaze, a knowing look on his face. Earlier than expected this year, Kak has heard our prayers, it seems. The market activity immediately intensifies, a sudden surge of urgency as people rush to complete their trading before the storm arrives. Within an hour, the vast plaza begins to empty. Traders pack their goods with hurried movements, securing their wares, and begin heading toward home, a palpable sense of anticipation in the air. Your small group joins the exodus. Ixchel carefully stows her newly acquired items in a large back basket, supported by a tub line across her forehead at the standard Maya method for carrying heavy loads, a testament to their strength and endurance. The walk back to the village takes on a new urgency as the storm clouds advance, rapidly consuming the sky. The wind picks up, bending the tops of the tall trees, sending ominous ripples through the cornfields. Birds fall silent, seeking shelter before the impending deluge. The air feels charged, electric with anticipation, a vibrant energy crackling all around you. You're still about halfway back to the village when the first large raindrops begin to fall, sporadic at first, then quickly increasing in intensity, growing heavier with each passing second. Within minutes, water pours from the sky in sheets, a torrent that drenches you completely, soaking your clothes to the skin. The path turns to thick, slippery mud beneath your feet, making each step treacherous, a careful dance to maintain your balance. Kinich, ever the guide, leads you quickly to a small structure beside the path, a simple roof supported by just 4 posts, built specifically as a rain shelter for travelers. Several other people have already taken refuge here, huddling together, and they kindly make space as your group arrives. The thatched roof provides protection from the worst of the downpour, though windblown rain still reaches you, misting your face and arms. The temperature has dropped noticeably, and you find yourself shivering uncontrollably in your wet clothing. Around you, the entire landscape has been transformed. Visibility is reduced to just a few yards, a swirling curtain of rain. The familiar path is now a flowing stream of muddy water, churning and surging. The cultivated fields are temporarily returned to swamp, a muddy, glistening expanse. The first rain of the season is always the strongest, an old woman sharing the shelter tells you, her voice calm amidst the storm's fury. Kak announces his return with thunder and lightning, to remind us all of his immense power. Indeed, lightning flashes regularly now, brilliant streaks across the darkened sky, immediately followed by deafening crashes of thunder so loud you feel them vibrating deep in your chest, rattling your very bones. Despite the discomfort of being wet and cold, there's something undeniably exhilarating about the storm's raw, untamed energy. This, you realize, is what sustains life in the Maya world. The water that nourishes the crops, fills the vital cenotes, and allows this incredible civilization to flourish in what would otherwise be an inhospitable, challenging jungle environment. For nearly an hour, you wait as the storm rages, a relentless assault of wind and water. Conversation is difficult, almost impossible, over the deafening sound of rain hammering on the thatched roof. So you pass the time in silent contemplation. Your mind returns to the market, to the complex, intricate web of trade and social connections that binds the Maya world together. You think of Balamk, the young noble, and the political tensions simmering just beneath the surface of Maya society. And you remember, with a renewed sense of unease, your troubling dreams of drought and abandonment, a future that now seems impossible to reconcile with the overwhelming abundance of water currently pouring from the sky, a paradox of future and present. Finally, mercifully, the downpour eases to a steady, softer rain. Kinich decides it's time to continue homeward. The path is now deeply muddy and slick, requiring careful, deliberate attention to each step to avoid slipping. Water drips steadily from leaves and branches overhead, occasionally finding its way down the back of your neck, a refreshing chill. Your sandaled feet are caked thick with mud, each step making a satisfying squelching sound. The jungle smells profoundly different after the rain, earthy, fresh, intensely alive. Birds gradually resume their calls, and insects emerge from their shelters, buzzing with renewed vigor. Frogs, invisible during the dry weather, suddenly appear everywhere, their chorus adding to the post-storm symphony, a vibrant concert of life. Small streams that were merely damp depressions this morning now flow vigorously, requiring careful crossings on slippery log bridges. By the time you reach the village, the rain has stopped completely, though dark, heavy clouds still dominate the sky. The entire landscape glistens, every leaf and blade of grass adorned with countless droplets that catch the occasional breakthrough of sunlight, sparkling like tiny crystals. The air feels cleansed, the dust settled, the world renewed, born again from the storm. Children immediately reappear, playing joyfully in the muddy open areas, their small bodies slick with clay, their laughter carrying brightly across the village. Adults inspect their thatched roofs for any leaks, sweep water from their limestone floors, and generally address the minor disruptions caused by the season's first major storm. There's an palpable atmosphere of celebration, a collective sigh of relief and gratitude. The rains have arrived, ensuring another vital cycle of growth and harvest, of life continuing. At your house, Ixthel helps you remove your sodden, heavy clothing and provides a clean, dry Hui pill. The wet garments are hung on a line to dry during the next sunny day, a practical chore. She then builds up the hearth fire, coaxing it to ward off the unusual chill brought by the storm. The flickering flames create dancing patterns of light and shadow on the limestone walls, a comforting, mesmerizing counterpoint to the gray twilight outside. A simple dinner is prepared, leftover bins reheated with fresh herbs, tortillas warmed on a comal, and some of the dried fish acquired at the market, now reconstituted in a spicy broth. The hot food restores warmth to your body, and the familiar, comforting flavors bring a sense of peace after the long, eventful day. As night falls, Kinich visits again. He brings a small clay pot of Balche tilde copyright and 3 gourd cups. To celebrate the return of the rains, he explains, his voice carrying the satisfaction of a prayer answered. He pours the fermented honey drink, passing cups to you and Ixchel. The 3 of you sit near the fire, sipping the sweet, slightly alcoholic beverage. Outside, the night creatures begin their chorus, frogs, insects, and nocturnal birds creating a living soundscape that surrounds the village, a constant hum of life. Occasionally, distant lightning illuminates the doorway, a flash of white light, followed several seconds later by the low rumble of thunder, the storm continuing its powerful journey across the Maya lands. The market, the rain, a broken bar. It has been a significant day, Kinich observes, his eyes thoughtful. But I sense the visions from your dreams still trouble you. They sit heavily in your mind. You nod, watching the firelight reflect in your cup of Balche tilde copyright. I saw cities abandoned to the jungle, people starving, great drought. If the rains have returned as normal, why would such things happen? It seems impossible now, in this abundance. Kinich is silent for a long moment, staring deeply into the flickering fire, his face etched with ancient contemplation. When he finally speaks, his voice is lower, meant only for your ears and Ixchel's, a hushed sharing of profound knowledge. The cycles of time bring different qualities to each period, to each 1/4 Aiden. Some periods bring abundance, others bring hardship, profound challenges. The priests and astronomers, they study the heavens, seeking patterns that might warn of difficult times ahead, of imbalances. Some believe we are approaching such a period, a time of reckoning. He sighs, the sound almost lost beneath the chorus of frogs outside, a whisper against the vastness of the night. But these are matters for kings and high priests, for those who interpret the cosmic signs, not for farmers like us. Our duty, our sacred responsibility, is to tend the milpa, to make our offerings, and to trust in the wisdom of those who rule, those who maintain the balance. His words don't entirely satisfy you. The unsettling visions linger, but you recognize the practical philosophy behind them. In the Maya world, as in your own time, most people focus on immediate concerns, growing food, raising children, maintaining their homes, building their communities. The larger, grand cycles of civilization, its rise and its eventual fall, often seem to unfold beyond their direct influence, beyond their daily control. As the evening progresses, the Balche tilde copyright slowly relaxes your muscles and gently slows your thoughts. The combination of physical exertion from the day, the emotional intensity of your earlier vision, and now this mild intoxication leaves you profoundly tired, a deep, bone-weary exhaustion. Your eyelids droop, your head nodding occasionally as you struggle to stay awake, fighting the encroaching sleep. Ixchel notices your fatigue. Sleep now, she says gently, her voice kind. Your body and your spirit need rest. You have journeyed far. You don't resist as she guides you to your sleeping mat. The red surface feels especially welcoming tonight, your body sinking gratefully into its familiar, comforting texture. The jade pendant is carefully removed from your neck and placed meticulously beside the mat, a cool, green guardian. Nearby, the copal incense releases its sweet, protective smoke, helping to ward off the mosquitoes that have emerged in force after the rain, a small comfort against the jungle's relentless presence. Kinich says something to Ixchel in a low voice, a quiet exchange of words. She nods in understanding and retrieves a small pottery jar, removing its clay stopper. From it, she takes a finger of dark, sticky substance and, with a tender touch, draws a symbol on your forehead. Protection for your dream journeys, she explains softly. Rest without fear tonight, little one, Kinich tells you. The symbol will guard your spirit as you sleep, guiding it safely through the realms. The combined effect of the Balche tilde copyright, the rhythmic sound of rain beginning to fall again outside, the warm, flickering glow of the fire, the sweet, protective scent of copala, all of it combines to create a profound sense of peace and security. Despite the troubling visions from yesterday's dreams, you feel safe in this moment, held in the ancient, nurturing embrace of this community. Your awareness begins to drift, your thoughts becoming less coherent, more fluid. The voices of Kinich and Ixchel fade as they continue their quiet conversation near the fire. A distant hum. The world narrows to the simple, comforting sensations of your body, the comfortable weight of the cotton blanket, the slight roughness of the reed mat against your skin, the gentle, steady rise and fall of your chest with each breath. As sleep approaches, you have a fleeting thought, a whisper in your receding consciousness. Perhaps tomorrow will bring more answers, more pieces of the intricate puzzle that is the Maya world. Perhaps you'll finally understand why you've been brought here, what you're meant to learn, what grand purpose you serve. Or perhaps you'll simply continue to experience this civilization as it was lived day by day, in the fields and forests, the markets and temples, and the ordinary and the sacred interwoven in every single aspect of life. The thought dissolves as consciousness fades. Sleep claims you completely, drawing you down into its dark, healing depths. Your breathing deepens, your body fully relaxes, and your mind surrenders to the mystery of dreams. Time, you sense, passes differently in dreams. As your eyes flutter open, the first thing you notice is the complete absence of any pain, the throbbing headache, the queasiness, the lingering sensitivity all gone. A profound sense of peace washes over you, deeper than anything you've felt since arriving in this ancient world. You still lie on the reed mat, but it now feels incredibly comfortable, almost luxurious. The air inside your small limestone house is fresh and cool, carrying only the faint, sweet scent of copal. You sit up easily, your muscles feeling surprisingly invigorated, completely rested. The strange symbol Ixchel drew on your forehead last night is gone, absorbed by your skin, leaving no trace. You glance at the spot where you left the jade pendant, but it's not there. A small pain of anxiety goes through you, but then you realize, it's around your neck. You reach up and feel the smooth, cool stone against your skin, a comforting weight, a tangible link to all that has transpired. Ixchel is already up, quietly tending the hearth fire. The morning sounds of the village are softer today, more harmonious, a gentle symphony that soothes rather than grates. The sun, still low, casts long, golden shadows through the doorway, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air like tiny, shimmering spirits. You are well rested, Ixchel observes, turning to you with a warm smile. The spirits protected your dreams. She hands you a gourd of warm atoll, the sweet corn gruel. As you drink, its comforting warmth spreads through you, a familiar taste that now feels like home. Kinich said the gods speak in riddles, you say, your voice clear and steady. But last night, it felt like understanding, not words, but a deep knowing. She nods, her eyes thoughtful. The greatest truths are often felt, not spoken. What did your spirit learn, my friend? You pause, trying to articulate the overwhelming flood of insight that seems to have settled within you. I saw the turning of the cycles, how everything is connected, the rain, the corn, the people, the kings, the stars, and how easily the balance can be broken. Kinich arrives then, his walking stick tapping softly on the packed earth floor. He carries a small basket of fresh fruit, a morning offering. Ah, the dreamer awakens with new wisdom, he says, his cloudy eyes twinkling with genuine warmth. The gods have indeed spoken clearly to you. He sits down beside you, offering a ripe, sweet mango. As you eat the juicy fruit, the tropical sweetness a burst of flavor, you tell him and Ixchel about the final, most profound part of your dream, the vision of not just an ending, but a transformation. I saw the great cities become quiet. You explain? The temples embraced by the jungle, their stones still strong, but the bustling plazas empty. But then, I saw new life, the jungle reclaiming, but also nourishing, the corn still growing in hidden milpas, sustaining smaller communities. Not an end, but a change, a different way of being. Kinich listens intently, his face solemn. The cosmos demands change. Always, kingdoms rise and fall, great cities are born and then return to the earth. This is the truth of time, the truth of creation. The ancestors return to the earth to nourish the soil, to allow new life to grow. The great temples become mountains again, returning their strength to the land. He gestures to the jade pendant around your neck. That stone, it represents water, life, transformation. It is always changing, yet always enduring. So the visions of drought and abandonment, you clarify, they weren't just a prophecy of doom, but a part of a larger cycle? Exactly so, Kinich confirms, his voice resonating with ancient wisdom. No cycle is truly an end, only a transition. The Maya will endure, in new forms, in new ways, as the corn endures, as the river endures, as the stars endure. This conversation brings a profound sense of peace. The heavy burden of fear, the confusion, the disorienting sense of being lost in time, all of it lifts. You understand now, you weren't just a passive observer, dropped into a historical moment. You were a witness to the profound, cyclical nature of existence itself, a witness to a civilization's grand journey through time. You were meant to see not just what happened, but why, and the deeper, enduring truths that underpin all of human experience. The day unfolds with a gentle familiarity. You help Ixchel tend her small garden, weeding around the precious herbs and vegetables. The sun feels warm on your skin, not oppressive, but life-giving. The sounds of the village are no longer jarring. but a comforting backdrop to your work had the rhythmic pat-pat-pat of tortillas being made, children's laughter, the distant calls of jungle birds. You feel completely present, utterly grounded in this moment, in this ancient world. The ache in your muscles from yesterday's work is a satisfying reminder of your physical connection to this place, to this way of life. Later, you join Kinich as he walks through the milpa fields, checking the corn, examining the soil, reading the subtle signs of the earth. He teaches you how to recognize a healthy corn stalk, how to feel the readiness of the beans, how to identify different insects that might harm or help the crops. His knowledge is encyclopedic, passed down through countless generations, a living library of ecological wisdom. You learn that every plant, every insect, every creature has a role, a purpose, a spirit, and that true prosperity comes from respecting and living in harmony with all of them. As the sun begins its slow descent, painting the sky with fiery oranges and deep purples, you sit with Kinich and Ixchel outside their home, sharing a simple meal of roasted squash and fresh tortillas. The air is cool and fragrant, filled with the scent of damp earth and wood smoke. The conversation is easy, comfortable, flowing like a gentle river. You talk about the day's tasks, the health of the crops, the small joys and challenges of village life. You are no longer an outsider, a bewildered time traveler. You are simply present, a part of this community, sharing in its rhythm and its enduring spirit. As true darkness falls, and the first stars begin to prick through the velvet sky, Kinich looks at you, his cloudy eyes filled with a quiet knowing. Your journey here, it has served its purpose, I think. You have seen, you have learned. The God's message has been received. A strange calm settles over you, a quiet acceptance. You realize he's right. The feeling of being a visitor, a temporary anomaly, has returned, but without the panic, without the disorientation. It's a gentle readiness, a sense of completion. Will a broken bar return? You ask. The words soft, almost a whisper. The threads of time are many, Kinich replies, his voice thoughtful. Some stretch long and unbroken, others intertwine, and some simply release. Where your thread leads next, only the great weaver knows. But you carry the wisdom of our world with you. Now, you are changed. Ixchel reaches over and gently squeezes your hand, her touch warm and reassuring. Go well, little one. May your path be clear, and your spirit strong. You spend a final, peaceful hour watching the stars appear, feeling the cool night air on your skin, listening to the symphony of the jungle coming alive. The sounds are no longer strange, they are the heartbeats of this world, a rhythm you now carry within you. The profound understanding of Maya wisdom, of their connection to the cosmos, to the earth, to each other. It feels like a part of your very being. As you finally lie down on your red mat, the familiar copal incense burning softly nearby, you close your eyes. The jade pendant, a cool, constant presence against your chest, seems to pulse with a gentle energy. You take a slow, deep breath, letting it all out, letting go of resistance, of fear, of uncertainty. You are ready. Your consciousness begins to drift, not falling into sleep, but gently, subtly, detaching. You feel a sensation of rising, of lightness, as if you are floating effortlessly upwards. The sounds of the village fade. The feeling of the mat beneath you disappears. The cool weight of the jade pendant is the last tangible sensation, and then even that dissolves. You are no longer in the limestone house. You are no longer in the ancient Maya world. You are simply a broken bar floating in timelessness, carrying the echoes of a profound past, the wisdom of an ancient people, and a renewed understanding of the intricate, enduring cycles of life and change. And with that, you open your eyes. You are in your own bed. The light filtering through your window is familiar. The sound of a distant car, the gentle hum of your refrigerator. These are the sounds of your own time. You sit up slowly, touching your face, your arms, confirming your return. The jade pendant is gone from your neck, but as you run your hand over your chest, you feel something else. Not a physical object, but a deep, settled sense of peace, a quiet strength, and an expansive understanding that wasn't there before. The ancient Maya world, its people, its wisdom, it's all still with you, imprinted on your soul, a permanent part of who you are now. You smile. The journey was real. The lessons are profound. And now, you have a story to tell, A story woven not just from facts and dates, but from experience, from feeling, from living history. I hope you enjoy this journey. If you are ready to share this incredible story with the world, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Boring History Guy for more epic historical adventures, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive.